And we're live. Welcome to our home away from home. I am here with a good friend and actually a client of mine, a partner in crime, Lynn Preston, who you may remember from a couple Self-Care Sundays ago. I streamed a video of us having a focusing conversation where I shared about my experience being with my grandmother in her hospital room on her deathbed. And that experience really gave me some space and let me discover an edge that made all the difference in the world in me being able to not just be in the room with my grandma while she passed, but really be present with her. And I just am still so moved by that experience and both our conversation and what feels like sort of an extension of that conversation, the time that I got to spend with her afterwards. After streaming again this weekend, one of the community members, Mitzrayim, was expressed an interest in having an opportunity to speak with you and have a similar kind of conversation. So I figured I'd take an experimental stream here with the Patreon family. The patrons of this community that is growing, that I feel like we're going to have a lot to partner on together in 2018.
Wonderful. I'm all for that.
Around self-care and creativity.
I want to say to you, I was so moved by that conversation about Grandma Bobby. It's still very much in my heart, and I hear parts of it different times. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
I want to thank Mitzrayim for experimenting with us and talking with me, and you and I will be seeing what comes. When you said, Zach, about it enabled you to discover an edge, that's what focusing is.
Do you want to just take a brief second to share where you are, who you are, and just maybe one sentence about what you want people to know about you?
Well, I'm just a girl from Chicago. Trying to actually get a degree in psychology while dealing with mental health issues myself. And I also really like writing and what goes into writing fiction in different kinds of media. And that's really, I kind of want to incorporate all those things into my future life, but I've lately been in kind of like a rut that I'm trying to find my way out of.
Yeah, so I was very sort of taken with your studying psychology and writing and that whole area of life, and then being in this rut, and the rut is the thing that you want to talk about and explore. Is that right? Is rut?
Yeah. If it struck me that psychology and having me working in that field, I feel like would be better for me. Because I always wanted a career that incorporated something that I'm interested in and something that I could use to help people. And I've always been interested in psychology and how the mind works. And I figured I could use my knowledge better than to help people. Because a lot of people do need help when it comes to how their mind works.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is ironic. Because now, I'm a person who, now recently coming to, the realization or I'm coming out of denial that I'm dealing with mental health issues myself.
Well, yeah, that comes as a kind of almost like a surprise that you're one of the ones that needs help. And I think all of us helpers have that moment of saying, oh, I'm included in this circle of humanity, this circle of people that needs help, and I need help for me. And so that's one of the reasons that you came tonight, because you came to that understanding.
Before, I was very hesitant to seek any real help even when, I'd had someone say to me, I think you might be dealing with depression or, some type of mental illness, you should speak with someone. Yeah, sort of like, I want to help others, but when it comes to letting someone else help me, I'm just very hesitant about that. And also because it's like some ingrained thing in me where it's like I just didn't want to accept that there was something wrong with me up here. I just wanted to say like, oh, it's just stress or I'm just being tired, but all the warning signs are just getting too much for me to ignore, because now it's not just bouts of fatigue or bouts of being unmotivated. Now it's both of those things mixed with this idea or this like suicidal ideation that I've recently been having. Like I can't ignore it or pretend like it's not a big deal anymore.
Yes. Let me see if I can get all of that. There were a number of things in that. One thing that I can really resonate with myself is this feeling like, well, I want to help other people, but then I'm reluctant to be helped. And sometimes people who are sort of organized as helpers have that kind of feeling. And then it has to be a real development and stretch to learn to be helped. So that's one part. And then there's another part about sort of putting off the getting help until that part of you that needs help sort of rang the alarm bell. When you're starting thinking about killing yourself, that's like really the alarm. And then you have to pay attention. It's like that self that needs help is really insisting and sort of upping the ante. Does that sound right to you, the way I said that? I'm kind of saying that the self is calling for help and insisting and saying, listen, you better pay attention to me or I'm going to kill you.
And I really feel like that's it, because it's like I can't really lie to myself anymore, is what I'm saying. Like, it's like I can't just say, oh, it's not that, it's this, without me saying, but is it really just this?
Yeah. It seems like there are these two parts of you, the one that has joy and loves the video games and reading and interested in psychology and helping people and writing. And then there's this other side that isn't interested in anything and wants to stay in bed and tired, bored. Those aren't really the right ways of describing that. But it sounds like we don't know very much about that part yet. That's kind of a mystery. Like, what is that? You feel like, well, there's something, you call it a mental health problem, but we don't know really from its point of view what it is. So I'm going to just ask you to feel into what that's like when you're in those bouts.
On those days, I just look at something that any other day would stimulate my mind and get me thinking and get the gears turning. It does nothing.
It's almost like you don't know yourself on those days. You're so different.
Yeah. And I really don't feel like myself on those days at all. On those days where I'm not myself, I go from being a person who enjoys walking miles to being a person who doesn't even want to take a step outside of her house anymore. But on those days, it does nothing. And I know that that's not right, because that's not me.
It seems to me that Mitzrayim, that you're here now as you. You're the one that's you.
Yeah.
And you and I are talking about this other one that's not here now. And I want to ask you, do you think that we could be interested in that one? Like, not just scared about it or worried about her, but interested in her, because you're the one that's really interested in things. And here's this whole other self that we don't know why. We don't know what really goes on for her there.
It's me, but so I probably shouldn't refer to it as something that's not like other, but that other me that's in that pool.
Let's give that other you a name, because that you can be more than, right? You can be more than one you. Of course you're you, and of course that's part of you. But what would you call that part?
I would call. It was like that me. I don't really know that me that well. Because all I know about that me is that she would rather spend her days in her room doing nothing, staring at nothing, like having music on but not listening to any of the lyrics or letting the lyrics affect her or stimulate her in any way.
Yeah.
Just perfectly fine with doing a whole day of doing nothing.
Yeah. But you're like the mother, or the, looking at this one and saying, what's wrong with her? I mean, she doesn't want to even listen to the music.
Yeah.
But we don't know how she feels, really. We just know what she's not interested in.
Yeah.
What if you called her the unknown me? Is that a good
I think that's better. Because there's so much about her that I don't know. All I know is that nothing affects her, really.
I'm struck by what you said, that all you know. So I'm going to say some things back to you so that when you hear them, you could take them in and see if that's right, if we said it the right way. But what you said there is that all you know is that nothing affects her. That seems like an important thing, that this unknown you, nothing affects her. And maybe she doesn't want anything to affect her.
Yeah, because even when I am that unknown me, I do have moments where I will try to force myself to care about something or try to motivate myself. But when I try to break in, the unknown me pushes back with this thought of, well, that's pointless, that's meaningless, doesn't mean anything. There's no point of you going outside. It's worthless. You'll get the same amount of whatever being in your room.
Yeah.
Or there's no point in writing anything, because nobody wants to read anything you write anyway. Like, also, that unknown me, when they're not uninterested or they're not apathetic, and when I try to have thoughts or actions that guide them out of that, they resist with just disparagement.
Yes. So there's a struggle there. There's a fight between you and the unknown you. And you want to get that one out, and she disparages it and sort of knocks it down.
Disparagement are the only thing she feels.
Disparagement is the only thing she feels.
Yeah, and I guess...
Let's just be with that for a minute, because we're trying to get to know her. And I think to get to know her, we have to accept her. We have to...
Yeah, and I think the thing is, I just been... In my early years, I was pretending like she wasn't there. And now, I, dread her.
So you went from...
So I've gone from being in denial of her to being afraid of her.
Yeah.
And also resenting her.
Yes, I get that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so this struggle between you and her is a pretty difficult struggle where you were denying her, then you're scared of her, you're dreading her, you're resenting her. Wow.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have anybody on her side, I don't think. Because you don't like her that much.
Yeah.
You're scared of her. And let me see if it's right to say she doesn't want to let you in because she doesn't feel hopeful or accepted or...
Yeah, and I think she just feels
go ahead.
Just pain.
She feels
like,
pain.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one feeling that stimulates her is, like, the feelings that resonate with her are just, like, disappointment and pain. And those are the feelings that she just has and keeps and holds on to. Yeah, and I understand that because, you know, I have disappointment and I have pain, but I don't want to dwell or stay stuck in those moments of disappointments or in those moments of pain.
Yeah, that's
where... And I feel like she does.
Yeah, that's where the fight comes in, right? Let's see if I can dramatize that fight a little bit and see if you recognize it. She's saying, life sucks, and my situation sucks, and nobody gives a shit, and it's not worth anything, and leave me alone, and get out of here, get out of my face, don't ask me for anything, just let me be. And you're saying, come on, life has some interesting things, and let's go do and explore, and you're also saying, whoa, I don't want all this negativity. I don't want what you have to say. Whoa, you scare me, girl.
Right. That is it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it went from being, you know, I'm just going to stay in this room and not leave. Let's try to go out. No, there's no point in going out. To... You know, I'm going, you know, life is tough, but I'm going to try to go about it the best way I can and keep pushing forward. And she's saying, well, life is meaningless and it's pointless, and you're just going to deal with more pain down the road, so why not just end it now, because it's meaningless? And I'm like, that's not, but no, like, life has pain in it, but it also has beautiful moments too, and if you end that, just out of this desire to not be in pain, you're going to miss so much more beautiful moments that you can have.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to hear that.
No,
All she's thinking is pain.
Yeah. Well, she wants you to pay attention to her point of view and to recognize the pain, and you want her to pay attention to your point of view, and you certainly don't want her to end it. You want her to get out and do something. But I'm wondering, can you and I now step aside a little bit? We'll go over here with Zach. He's over here on my left. Here he is. We're going to go over here, and we're going to look at Mitzrayim, and we're going to look at the unknown self, the unknown me. We're looking at them. They're having this fight, and it's sort of a fight to the death in a way. It's like it's getting more and more intense, and they're insisting on their points of view, and they're getting more entrenched. And we're over here, we're watching them, and we're saying, whoa, look at this relationship. Wow. You know, what do you think has to happen to them? What could help then?
Well, I think I would say originally, like I would say, I would have to tell unknown me to just buckle down and just open your eyes and open yourself up to other feelings. But you know, I've shouted at her and I've tried to push her, and she just pushes back harder than me.
Yes.
So I feel like now, instead of just trying to fight her and like force her, that I should try to understand her, and maybe if I can understand those feelings, then maybe I can counteract them in a way where I'm not fighting her, but we're still coexisting.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can get rid of her at this point.
Say that again?
Though I would like to.
You would like to...
You know, I would like to be rid of her.
You'd like to be rid of her, yeah, but she's you.
Yeah, that's
true.
The dilemma.
Yeah, she's you, so it's pretty hard. That's the trouble with fighting with ourselves.
Yeah, she's all, like, she's me, and she's the collection of me that, you know, is still grieving the loss of her grandmother, who is forever stuck in this idea of that I'll never be good enough for any of the things that I want to achieve, that, you know, all the relationships I have are pointless, you know, even with strong friendship connections of people who understand me and love me despite my faults, like, those connections aren't meaningless, so they don't mean anything, at least to her. And
let me say those things back, because you just took an important step here. You took two important steps. One important step that you took was to say that instead of shouting at her, you want to try to understand her. That's a huge step. Huge step. And the other thing is that you, after taking that step, you started talking about what she feels beneath the not feeling anything and the disparagement, and she feels grief about losing your grandma, and she feels discouraged
because my grandma passed five years ago.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that in that span of the years since she's been gone, that unknown me, and she, and I do acknowledge that she's always been there, but in like small little moments, it was like, if I could describe it, she was tiny.
Yeah.
Back then. Like when I was young, she was small. Because even during those days, when I would be her, it was a small effect. It only lasted a day or two. No more than that. But now, since my grandma has passed, she started to grow, and some days she feels bigger than me, and she's feeding off of that energy that I've had, all the negative energy that I've had since losing my grandmother and having to grow up so quickly, and, you know, having sisters who have now moved away and have, you know, are going on with their lives, so we're not, even though we're still emotionally close, we're not geographically as close.
You're really left alone there, and God, she has a lot to be grieving about. Not only the loss of Grandma, but the loss of your sisters, and she's feeling really left and alone, and maybe like it's too much. Maybe like if she let herself feel stuff, it would be too much. And
that's really like all I want now. It's like, because I went from, I just want to pretend like she's not there, to, okay, she's there, she's not going away, can I just make her go away? Can I just please keep her away so I can just go on and do what I want to do with my life? Okay, she's not going away. What can I do to make it where while she's here, that I can still be just as big and have just as much of an influence as her? Because I'm willing to coexist, but I can't give her the reins.
Yeah. Let me make a suggestion. And when I make suggestions, it's not like the way, you know, a teacher even a counselor makes suggestions. I make suggestions as a way to sort of try them out and see what it feels like. But what if you were to take on the biggest job of helping that you could possibly have in your life and start helping her and being the helper to her by really trying to understand her, and maybe like every day or every couple of days writing what she feels and what she says, like giving her a voice so that she can express what she needs to express. And then maybe you and I could check in with each other and see what it does to try to get to know her, to welcome anything she says. You're going to write it down, what she says, and not argue with her. This is another part of my suggestion. Not try to convince her, not try to argue with her. Because you know that when you try to argue with somebody, they just get stronger and bigger and fiercer and meaner and tougher. So what I'm proposing is that you and I try to understand her and give her a voice and write down the way she feels. And then you could go out and do what you want to do after you give her attention. But you start your job as a therapist, as a counselor, start it with her.
I've been kind of like downplaying her pain as, well, it happens to everybody, so it's not important.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear when they're suffering that everybody has pain. Nobody likes that, right? And it doesn't encourage anybody to.
And I think that's probably why, in those moments when I say those things, she pushes back.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because she feels maybe like you're disparaging her. So then she wants to disparage you. It's like you're on opposite team.
Yeah.
Are you with me about trying this experiment of writing down what she says? It's not just intellectually knowing where it comes from, but really knowing what she says that you haven't thought yet. But that you could let her speak it, and you could write it down. Even if you don't agree with it, you don't have to agree with her. We're not saying you have to agree, right? You don't have to agree. You don't even have to accept it. You just have to be interested and be willing to listen and not to argue with her, but just to write it down. How does that sound?
That sounds like a good idea, and I think that would help me to understand her better. Because I know the causes of her, but I still don't know her.
You know the cause. That's a wonderful statement. I love it. You know the causes of her, but you don't know her.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.